Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, you are now rocking with the... Yeah, another classic. Duke-a-Tears, Empress. You ain't never heard a sound like this. Yeah, that's hot. The bus fit. We the type to bust a shot and never miss. Hey, Duke-a-Tears, Empress. You ain't never heard a sound like this. Yeah, that's hot. The bus fit. We the type to bust a shot and never miss. Hey, that's the how it go for the king of disco. Always on the go, rain, hail, sleet, snow. The professional, very bilingual. Blow shit out the frame, aim at the stat quo. Till the ground with a whole R-U-S. The best, never less, confess. Never blow my finesse unless the style of pest molest. 50 shots to the chest to take a toll on the chest. The quest or the grail is stale. For the nails of the Christ contrite. Put the mighty in might. Albert Pike will turn over in his grave. To see the more rise from the ashes of a slave. Behave Neanderthals back to the cave and wave. Till they hold and drove while I resolve like the hay. My style is gay like the Easter egg. Me and the Empress getting paid cause we renegade. Duke-a-Tears, Empress. You ain't never heard a sound like this. Yeah, that's hot. The bus fit. We the type to bust a shot and never miss. Hey, Duke-a-Tears, Empress. You ain't never heard a sound like this. Yeah, that's hot. The bus fit. We the type to bust a shot and never miss. Hey,
open up your mind's eye, let's see why. Empress and Duke-a-Tears ride so fly. Always high with a vibe that's so live. Find the queen, bring the limousine, oh my. But switch ways all the way to best side. Do or die, never die. Always got the spirit gap. Where you at? Where my stack? Keep my money coming back. Represent the triple black. Womb stay intact. Matter of fact, here's a fact. Number one record black. You be whack. I stay legit. Teach the kids to know they shit. Where they come from, godson, be the one son. What you gonna do when the time comes, son? Don't run, son. Shit. Stay legit, keep it on the square. Never have no fear. Never have no fear, yeah.
Duke-a-Tears, Empress. You ain't never heard a sound like this. Yeah, that's hot. The bus fit. We the type to bust a shot and never miss. Hey, Duke-a-Tears, Empress. You ain't never heard a sound like this. Yeah, that's hot. The bus fit. We the type to bust a shot and never miss. Hey, I be a star.
I be a set.
We have come to resurrect what you forget.
Back in Connect, I was the spirit of sex met.
I was Heru, and together we reflect.
Yeah, sun and moon, moon and stars, Venus, Mars, here we are.
We the type of soul space travel far, shining bright through the night with the stars like Duke-a-Tears, Empress. You ain't never heard a sound like this. Yeah, that's hot. The bus fit. We the type to bust a shot and never miss. Hey.
You feel doing great. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It's your host, Heru, Duke-a-Tears, tuned in again to Super Heru Radio. Thank you for tuning in on our Monday night show. Thank you for holding it down with us, as well as my co-host, tuning in to the Empress of 10,000 Years, Saga Aside, or more. Hopefully it'll be in the bath soon. You don't be throwing me off. I hope everybody's been well. God forbid anybody who lost anybody this week. Our condolences go out to you and yours. And inshallah, I know that you're definitely in a better place, hopefully. And inshallah, we all can do what we want to do as we move further into and move closer into the month in the Jason series of months. For those people who are not familiar, again, just to reiterate the obvious, Jason stands for July, August, September, October, November. So we are now moving into the third month of the Jason cycle in which sacrifices are abound. In that. So within that, we definitely want to say peace and respect to those people who may have lost or may be losing things. Let's just get in the back. You know what I'm saying? We definitely want to say peace to that. Also, being that this is a month for intrinsic sacrifices, this definitely is a time to watch out for sudden accidents, sudden flare-ups, like altercations, almost like a flash mob showing up. Now's the time to look out for that and pay attention, because this is a time to get caught up in shit and useless things, useless meanderings of things and people who really have nothing to do other than comment and make critiques about what it is they see you doing. So this is a time to definitely watch out for that. Also, it's a time for sacrifice in the political arena. So this may result in the actual either assassination or the killing of people like Gaddafi, people like Mubarak, people like Chavez, people like anybody that's stepping up that they're looking to sacrifice that they help set up. So remember, part of foreign policy of the United States is to perpetually create your enemies or the enemies that you want to face in the future. So that way you always have a handle on their capabilities and they never move too far out of the parameters of your influence. So based on that, we want to get in a position where people can feel and know that this is a time in which all things start to get rebalanced and balanced out. So, again, please look out for that. Also, being that we're coming towards the end of the Mercury retrograde, thank God. Thank God we're coming to the end of the Mercury retrograde. This is the last time in terms of mistakes and mishaps and people misinterpreting the things that you mean or whatever. As we've been saying, through any retrograde period, specifically Mercury, you always want to practice active listening more than pretentious talk, you know. You always want to be in a situation where you're doing the knowledge more so than you putting people onto what the knowledge is. Because you're always in a state of flux, meaning you're always at the advantage or disadvantage of reacting or acting based on what someone or somebody else is doing in your life. Then, again, you're not really living your life. You're basically just kind of like passing through it due to all of the obligations that you have for other people. And one thing about this is that people can make you feel obligated for shit that they know they're supposed to do for you. You know what I'm saying? So never let anybody put you in a position to make you feel like because they're doing things for you, even though if that's what they said they want to do, that they have the right to make you beholden to that. That is a form of indentured servitude. That is how indentured servitude actually started on the planet. People feeling like they don't need to pay whatever debt that's supposed to be paid, and so because they didn't have, let's say, a monetary value attached to it, it became a service thing. And once the first one of us that succumbed or decided to be involved in that, is what eventually led to what we perceive as slavery, which is forced indentured servitude, which is forced indentured. So we definitely want to be clear as to who and what we contract people in our lives to do. And now is not the time for you to be incurring or taking on the debt of slaves. Now is definitely not the time to do that, being the fact that most governments in the world are being reorganized to accommodate a national government organization stance as opposed to a national government stance. So with the United States credit report basically being shut down, they basically just the other aspect of it. So we're at the stage now, like I said, where everything is being reorganized, everything is being switched up, and everybody is basically kind of at their wit's end because they know and understand that what we understood the country to be was really never what it was. Okay? The idea that America was never what they purported it to be, and that it was always something that was going on here. It's kind of hard for people to fathom. And the other aspect of it is that sometimes intelligence can make you more smart than you really are. A lot of people who are just coming into the understanding now that the United States itself is bankrupt and was never really a corporation, was never really a country to begin with. People got to understand the original name the original name, the original name of the whole thing, like I said, was the original name for America, according to the British East India Company, was the Virginia Tobacco Company. If you don't believe me, go online, research the incorporation of charter papers going back to the 1600s of the British East India Company in the eastern coast of America. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely want to be in a situation where we can celebrate what it is we're doing the knowledge to and take advantage, based on a full faith and credit of the knowledge we've been doing, to actually see an actual change within all of it. So they're going through regime changes throughout the whole world. You're going through regime changes throughout the whole world. Yet and still, we wind up in positions. You know what I'm saying? More is protesting. The shirt is already off. I know you can do it. Don't take it back. Sorry, I'm more protesting. But specifically, that's kind of what's going on with that. So, funny thing about it is there was a judge that's been convicted in, I forget what country, what state in the United States, but there was a judge that was convicted and who just received 28 years for basically illegally railroading young black males, specifically young black males, into taking hard time in deals, you know what I'm saying, with the man and everything. So in the process of this white devil male, was going specifically isolating young black males and giving them hard time. But we're talking about brothers as young as 13. He's giving them 10 years in jail so the state can make more money, because like we talk to everybody, and what we've been saying on a thing is that crime constitutes 24% of the national average in terms of the GDP. So crime is a consistent aspect of revenue for the United States, which is why you have something referred to as the prison industrial complex, which is why they're creating situations in which prisoners or prisons are now privatized so they can do whatever they want. There's a movie, again, it always comes down to a damn movie. There's a movie they made back in the days called Fortress, and it starred the dude from Highlander in it, Chris Lambert, and it basically was about the Supermax prisons that they have been building, that they want to keep, that they want to build and basically go all the way down into the inner earth. And what they do is they get the inmates to help them build it. So whereas most prisons are built, let's say, up, this one goes down. So when you watch the movie, you see a lot of the same tactics and technologies that they have used or been using in movies and in law enforcement, and specifically police technology. Is the same thing they're doing right now. You know what I mean? So the same way you have the military industrial complex, you have the prison industrial complex, which are both auspices and both basically get federally funded through the Department of Defense, as well as the Pentagon. Again, don't believe me? Look it up. Do the research as to who and gives they funding. Who gets funding to do what? If you ever want to find out who's really running shit, who's really in a position to run shit, you got to look at who exactly is in control. You know what I'm saying? So specifically, we're in a situation now where all bets is off, where those people who are in debt, this is the time for you to switch that position based upon the fact that the United States credit holdings and credit ratings are totally basically in the red, which means that they really don't have the ability to pay for anything that they want to implement. So the same way they had to raise the debt ceiling last month is the same way they're going to have to do it again in probably by around January, because nothing has been fixed in terms of the deficit. The deficit is based upon the debt that they owe to, well, the deficit is the debt that they owe to the Federal Reserve and the IMF. The national debt is what they owe to the national people, i.e., you and me. So they would rather, they created the national, or let's say that they allowed the Federal Reserve Bank and all that shit to function here, so that way we would never get the money that we were supposed to get to put ourselves back on top. Just like when we were supposed to, after the so-called Civil War, when the old bets was off, when they switched from the master to the slave, we were supposed to be the ones to be the most employed. Why? Because we had all of the skills. The white man, the quote-unquote white man, he was not no contractor. He was not no real stonemason. He didn't know how to build none of that shit. Remember, you talking about people, again, who thought their world was flat, who thought everything, because it's the phone, too, because everything that they've basically been striving and working to do has been a means of catch-up. They're perpetually working to catch up with the progress that was already made by the indigenous people on the planet. They don't want to do it. I have to wait for the phone to charge up so I could get the other one. The phone is just low. So it's a situation, like I said, it's okay. Well, I can't always hold it how everybody wants to know, so I'm doing the best I can. Okay. We're in a situation, like I said, too, where regardless to how much money that they spend, in order for them to stay out of debt, they have to spend triple the amount of money that they spent to get into the debt, to stay above it, because the dollar value has been so depreciated. You know what I'm saying? This is just how it is. So these are now the same people stepping to you, trying to tell you, you know, that you still got to be on time with your bills and everything else, but these niggas ain't been paying their bills since forever. So they find themselves in a position in which they have to repay or pay what it is they owe. But the whole purpose of them owing was so that way they never had to pay us. The whole purpose of the immigrant movement, the whole purpose of the immigrant movement, all the people who came over, bring me your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, all of these people, the whole reason why they did that was to stop black people from working here in America. That's why every 5 minutes you watch TV and you read about these so-called immigrant descendants and how my father came over here with nothing, and then he was able to, you know, put 10 pence together for over 60 years, and now I'm a millionaire and I run everything and I have this. How could they do that when these niggas didn't have no skills? How could they do that when the people they call immigrants were slaves in the countries that they came from? That's why they slaves now. That's why these Tea Party people is bugging the hell out now, because they realize that they don't really have the means to occupy the position of superiority in the landmass because they are not from here. Regardless to whether or not your forefather, your forefather's forefather, your forefather's forefather, whoever was the first immigrant that brought you over here on that boat, that's the European that you descend from. Therefore, you are not indigenous to this land because from time immemorial, your ancestry came from someplace else. So how is it now these same immigrants, these same Puritans, these same pilgrims, these same whatever are now the ones that have the ability to say who can stay in the country and who can't? And why is it that nobody else in the indigenous community, the Mexicans or anybody else, got anything to really go hard on them niggas and show and prove that? There's no such thing as California. If everything in California is named after, it got a Spanish name, San Diego, San Madrino, San Francisco, anything with that means that you're dealing with Spanish. That's not American. Yet and still, you know, the white folk who have the least skills with shit and the least, let's say, social skills. Because, see, the thing is, white folk feel that because they want to know about other people's culture, they're cultural. No, that's not the case. They get into other people's culture to figure out how to run it. Don't believe me? Look into the history of the British East India Company. That is the history of maritime or admiralty jurisdiction throughout the entire world, and America is the byproduct of that. Everything America do is patterned off of what Britain did back in the day. And it's all based on hostile takeover here. And it's all. No, I just switched it because I didn't want to have to loosen the box in the bag. So specifically, they created a situation where they're just done, but they want to front like they have more of a tie to this place than you. So what they want to front like they have a tie in and that they're more connected to this place than you are because, you allegedly came over here and you descend from a slave. So basically, again, all they did was switch up your history and get you to agree with it. Because if you agree with this shit, then it's real. Then you do come from a slave. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how they can prove that you, as an original man, original woman, came over here as a slave when I ain't, in all my 38 years of living, I've yet to see a slave ship in person, whether in Africa or here in America. I've yet to see one. I've seen the shackles. I've seen the little drawings that all look like they was drawn by the same dude and at the same time. I saw the little articles, hey, buy a Negro. I even saw the fake planking. That's the other thing. People want to talk about planking. People don't realize that planking actually is the act of packing slaves, allegedly. When you look at that, if anybody ever saw that image of the slave ship, the diagram of the slave ship where everybody basically was packed together, allegedly at the bottom of the ship, and everybody was standing stiff as a board. That was an aspect of what they refer to as planking. But, again, when you start dealing with the slave thing, this is what they used to do. They used to put them out, those of us, or quote-unquote ancestry, they used to break away. And when we talk about slaves of African descent, really what we're talking about are prisoners of war. We're talking about POWs. Same way we'd be talking about Vietnam prisoners of war, whatever. Anyway, when you do the knowledge to it, one of the things that they would do is that they would tie you up on what they call a rack, but they would tie you face front, like the way that they do with the planking thing right now. And then you would get whipped, or what you would call flogged. You would get flogged to what they say an inch of your life. And then if you was found to be like in a slave rebellion and shit, after they would plank you and then flog you, they would tar and feather you, which means that they would go get some tar and they would put it all over your body while you was laid out stiff as a plank as a board, and then they would throw feathers on you. And then basically just, leave you out there to die or whatever. So that way when anybody saw you, they would say, oh, look, he was tarred and feathered. Now, we would see images of this type of slavery or this type of torture in cartoons like Bugs Bunny and the ones with Foghorn Leghorn, the rooster, which is also the symbol of the Ku Klux Klan. So all of these things come from somewhere. But at the same token, when we talking about the slave thing, we got to deal with the accuracy of what we're talking about. And that is, brothers were prisoners of war in intermittent conflicts that was happening throughout the planet. And during that time is when the cracker decided, and when the slaves decided that they was going to come up. And it came up through administrative procedures and municipality and principality maneuvers. Okay? So basically they just used paperwork. Understand? And because they had an X amount of us that was on their side co-signing, a.k.a. the Black Masons, a.k.a. the Franciscan Moors, right? Meaning those Moors that were considered Franks. Frank meaning, Frank is where you get the term French from. And Frank, F-R-A-N-K, Frank, comes from the French franc, F-R-A-N-C, which is another way of saying money, but it's also another way of saying free. So those people who were Franciscans or Franciscan Moors or of the Franciscan orders were those Moors who were Moors in Moorish habit, but they were not necessarily Islamic and following it the way that the greater or older empire was following things. So these were the Moors who were dressed up in petticoats and stuff like that. These were the Moors of what we refer to as the Holy Roman Empire. Okay? So it was that side of the family that decided that they was going to use some of the slaves, a.k.a. serfs, a.k.a. Circassians, Circassians. Another name for these people were the Mamelukes, Mamekes. You'll still hear Italian people calling black people Mamelukes sometimes. Hey, a Mameluke. That's because, again, they're so scared of acknowledging the nigga shit in their families that they're almost like in cultural and genetic denial. You understand? Because the thing is, we purposely created them to help get rid of the rest of the white folk. That's why up until 1945, half of these people that's considered white here in this country were not considered that. They were not white. Don't believe me? There's a book that I tell everybody to get every so often called How the Irish Became White. White is a caste system that has to be petitioned for in the form of membership. That's why Moors, back in the days, in certain documents you would get, they're referred to as femme color libre, or free white persons. Okay? Or free people of color, or whatever, because, again, this was about the redesignation of those Moors who are going to now become Americans. You know what I'm saying? Because they were basically operating under the immigration thing too. Or those Moors back then. And so because you had Moors like Frederick Douglass and some of these other quote-unquote ones that was there, you know, you figure that they was basically trying to uphold the remnants of the old empire. No, these Freemason Moors or these Masonic Moors were the ones who decided that they was going to allow the Caucasoid to come in and treat him like a brother. For whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? But in the process of that, their brother wound up flipping it on them, killing those people who really had the science, and then giving them a version of the same civilization process that he gave him, that you got black men still being initiated into this day. But again, you know, there ain't nothing higher than the third degree. So anything anybody else is doing after that is really just conjecture and is based in Luciferianism. I don't have to, you know, you don't have to join a lodge to figure that out. You don't have to, you know, be down with somebody and study 35 to 50 years to learn that you are actually, to learn how to be something that you naturally born as. You don't have to do stuff like that. This is not to say that if you want to do that, you shouldn't. I think anybody should do what the hell they want to do. I'm just saying that you don't have to do that to obtain enlightenment. Anybody who makes it feel like, okay, well, if you're not in it, then you're not really getting it real, those are niggas that don't really have it. And what they're trying to do is get you to corrupt yourself, get down with them, so that way you don't have it either. And that way you won't be able to get it. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, misery loves company, and sometimes there's something about this thing that when niggas get down with it, they just want you to be in it. And if you're not in it, then they try to make it like a peer pressure thing, like you scared. Like, oh, you ain't want to go through no initiation, you ain't real, you ain't really got that, blah, blah, blah. But these niggas just flash the signs for over 300 years. What do they got to show for it? Nothing. Nothing. So in that, they ain't no better than no Christians. Who again, what's the difference? The Christians got a place, a church, that's their lodge, and they go to it, they give money to their most worshipful master, who's the reverend, and the reverend take the money and flip it and have sex and flip it and bounce it to do whatever he's going to do. But the people don't call him out usually. He gets to rock and have sex with niggas' wives and all that. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because the Masonic connection is in place where he already get his shit hooked up because he's kicking that money instead of the top money. He's taking a 10% of that and sticking that to the lodge where he can be the sovereign grand commander and the this and the that and these things that mean nothing. How you going to be a Sergeant Grand Inspector or a Sergeant Grand Commander, and you can only do that when you're around these people, these guys dressed up in these little suits and shit, and then that's it. But then outside, you at the will, you at the beck and call of any Freemasonic brother who may be down and out in a situation that you got to look out for. So again, to me, Masonry is not a problem. Freemasonry, is kind of the problem because there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? But see, the thing is, these niggas, nowadays, you say shit like that, niggas take it personal and try to make it like you banging on niggas because they in that, and that's not the case. I'm just saying be real with where you at. Be real with the fact that you didn't have to do that. You just chose to do that. So don't make it seem like just because other people don't necessarily choose to be inducted or initiated in something that there's something wrong with them, or you got the right to now refer to these niggas as profanes, because that's what they call us here. You are profane if you don't go through it, because technically you're not alive unless you're inside the lodge. You understand? And a lot of these blue lodge, meaning black Masons who don't really know nothing but know enough to, do little handshakes and shit like that, they don't really have too much to say about esotericism. Like, you don't think you're going up in there to build on the mysteries of the universe. Like, these niggas, they don't do that. All that shit ended when they started letting bars. They started letting bars and stuff, alcohol up in the lodge and shit. That's when everything started switching up with that. So again, to me, the greatest initiation, there's nothing more beautiful than the initiation of the creation of life itself. And that's an initiation we all go through. Therefore, the grand lodge that we live in is called Earth. And there ain't no lodge, no matter how beautiful, no matter how whatever, that's more beautiful than the Earth itself. You understand what I'm saying? So everything that's done is basically just a symbolic reverence or symbolic ritual that denotes something real and spiritual. So instead of having to do a ritual to acknowledge the beauty and consistency of nature, why not just acknowledge nature? The generalizations against, somebody said all the generalizations against black women, when will it stop?
I know somebody did something to somebody else.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they are. They kind of crazy. Okay. I know, babe. I'm just commenting. I think the generalization against black women stopped when black women decide that they wanted to stop. When black women decide that they don't want whack chicks to speak for them and stand up and have their girls emulated, and when black women decide that they're not going to put up with, these homo thug dudes. You got 112 people. Mm-hmm. There's 112 people in the chat room that are aware of black women and the generalizations that take place with them, as well as just the level of hate that is shared amongst each other. Because I feel it too. I just said to a student today, I was at the beach, and I was like, wow, more black people don't talk to us. White folk talk to us on the beach. And there's black people on the beach, and I'm like, oh, beautiful black family. Good evening, y'all. What's going on? Hey, hotel. They stare at me like I'm crazy and don't say nothing. These Latinos, white folk, oh, my God, what a beautiful family. Oh, my God, oh, my God. And it's great. Want to love everybody, but it would be nice for us to be able to share camaraderie and love for each other as people. So then, okay, whatever. Yes, black women hate each other. Yes, the generalizations suck. Yes, I fall into that category because I'm the darkest of dark sisters. So I see people when they say hi, when I say hi to them, they're almost in amazement that I can talk and I'm not angry. So it's like, wow, okay, this is different. This is weird. What do we do? Do we hate it? Do we consume it? Do we shit it out? Do we vomit it? Like, they're trying to process. So if all 110 people in this chat room today know that this is taking place and black women are hard to approach, then we have to, in this small group, not only be thankful that we are aware of the disease that's taking place, but almost call them out when you see it. Because I've actually
gain more friendships with women, not even friendships, but like little cutesy moments by being like, I'm not trying to be offensive, but we got to love each other as black women. I said, all these white people on the beach and you can't say hi to me? Come on, y'all. And they'll, like, make a snicker or laugh, but then they realize they're being fucked up. They don't even sometimes realize that they're being fucked up because they're so caught up in the mundanity of the world and just staying positive. And, you know, black people are very, I got a Coach bag, you got a Schmoach bag, so I can't talk. It's crazy. But what I realized is that when I actually address it in love, like, you know, no offense, sis, I ain't trying to, just hey. Then it's like, oh. But then sometimes I'm even at the interest, I'm like, some days, depending on how I feel, I'm like, I don't even care to try to wonder why black women that look like my color won't say hi to me. If they don't know that I went to college, they don't know that I'm not from the hood. If anything, I look more cultured than them. But then you open your mouth and they're like, oh, she talk like a white girl. There's no way I'm white when I look the way I do and you look the way you do. Like, straight up. But I think I almost embraced my nigger hair and my straight and my nigger teeth and all of that. I embraced it because there was a part of me that realized, like, yo, I am never going to fit into any type, period, that exists out there. So if I really love the things that have been given to me naturally, then I can kind of flip how people even perceive me. Because for years, black women must integrate. We must fit in. When I take, and this is a great discussion, when I take a yoga class, you know, out here, and I told this here, I said, you know, I just looked at Facebook this evening, and people are right. There are no Commission or yoga DVDs because, to be honest, Commission yoga, man, I'm going to get into it because it's been gotten into already. But for me specifically, I'm realizing that we don't exist out there in mass. There's not a lot of black women that are at yoga classes that I go to. And I don't want to be around a whole bunch of white folks solely, just like I'm sure they don't want me tainting their entire white class. Trust you me, when I walk in, oh, okay, now we got to, and I hear it. Because we, especially if you are aware that you are the ancestors, like they work through us, they're around us at all times, then sometimes people just don't want to be reminded of the great black mother. Because everything here is whitewashed. If we're all octoroon and we're all quadroon and mulatto, can you go check on them more, please? Okay. Quadroon and mulatto, then, you know, where are the real black people? Not real, but where are the dark people? Oh, right, we're the ones doing your laundry, babysitting the children, and harvesting what crops from what land now. Even out here, I meet great people, really cool, and then what happens? Oh, wait. You can't watch my kid again for free? Oh, wait, you can't do so-and-so and braid hair? No, white women, I'm not doing that for you for free. You understand? I'm still trying to make time just to be able to enjoy days with my family in midst of all of this. So I laugh that when I do attract people, they always want me to be in a place of servitude towards them. That's what allows them to think of me as an agreeable person. I'm agreeable when I'm rubbing your back, helping you work out, slaving myself to you, or showing you how, see, look at how much I can give. Look at how much I can give. We did that. The Help done proved that. The movie The Help, we helped. Now, who going to help us? Nobody. Because by the time we get to the finish line, we're so tired. We're so drained from one another. We're so disgruntled by looking at another woman. Oh, that bitch remind me of my sister that betrayed me. And trust you me. There's a part of me that's like, no, I kind of like my simple, real quiet lifestyle, but it's got to switch up because it's like the world is getting smaller. The degrees of separation are closing in. So I'm so thankful because you can't shit where you eat. You do understand that, black folks. We can't. So if we all know that this is the disease that takes place amongst black women, then let's really try, when you do see it, promise each other to be like, yo, nah, you know, hey, just call it out in love. Oh, no offenses. You just beautiful sometimes. I lie. Love your extensions, boo. They look great. Just to say something is, oh, she ain't hating on me. Because they're judging themselves of what they can't do well once they see you living your life with nobody smacking you across the face or giving you no filter, right? Nobody punishing you for being black. Sometimes I realize these black families that are out there, that are on the beach, that don't give me love, they're like, this bitch is condescending me. How is she telling me that my family is beautiful when I don't even find beauty in myself? That's what's happening. We are bringing up the insecurities and the levels of self-hatred amongst one another so much, but then there is no way that we can figure out how to weave in the love. So for me, I really do sometimes throw a little lie out to break the barrier because it's not that deep. Girl, does that hair you look like her? Because you do. Even I don't feel so. We look great because we should be looking great as black folk. So, I wanted to come in and say that there are going to be more of us. It's just that most people that while they're in yoga class, most black women are taking care of their children, are picking them up. Even right now, in order for me to even participate, to talk for 10 minutes, there's a part of me that has to somewhat say, you know what, Amor is going to sit in the tub by himself. I don't have to refer to him for a half an hour straight because we are constantly taking care of our children outside of ourselves. And it's wonderful, but what time does it leave us to go to yoga class? What time? I have to sometimes, literally, I don't eat now that I've moved out here. I don't do it. I don't go to classes like that. I take my own class. I give myself my own because I'm the only one that's going to stimulate me around my schedule to do what I know I got to do. So at the end of the day, this is what we all go through, and I really just want to remind sisters that it's going to get better. When we see each other, when this level of hatred is being passed, it's just to be reminded that they see something in themselves that they have not fully loved, that they're not aware of, that they're like, wow, I'm judging myself more than this person's judging me, or I feel less of whatever than this person's seeing in me. So I really am just thankful today for this forum, for each other, for moments like this where I can express myself in and then just drop back out and go into what it is I need to do, which is maintain silence in the house, which is try to keep peace in the space. I told it to you, I said, look, we ain't going to make it at the finish line, and then by the time we get there, we're so downtrodden by holding each other down through these difficult times that, you just want to remix it with someone new and fresh. It's so whack. But a lot of people don't know how to enjoy the not the difficult times, but the oil uphill. And I'm really trying to enjoy all of the moments and not take anything personally. So good night to everybody. My yoga DVD is coming out at the end of the month. My mom would have been celebrating a real powerful birthday this year, and it's also my 33rd year. And Amor's 3, my 33rd year. I'm dropping it after the 31st because my mom's birthday is on the 3/1. And you can't rush perfection. I've been studying yoga for years, and it's about time that we present and we share our gifts with one another for free. So I'm going to go in and give all of the dimes that I've learned throughout the years, throughout the last 15 years, and just not only studying it for self, but knowing why certain things are kept out of classes. And it's going to be great. So I hope everybody can enjoy what it is that I've really, really enjoyed figuring out throughout all these years. All right? So definitely look out for that. Like I said, it will be dropped after the 31st. I'm trying to drop it on September 1, and we'll see how it goes. All right, y'all? So give thanks. And anybody interested in the classes, a lot of people be like, I don't have the money. It's too much of a commitment. Even if you have $5 a week, all of these classes that we teach, it's it's not kind of anything. It's really given us the template to be able to stay connected to the people without having to schedule lectures or go to New York or do things in halls or in restaurants or wherever these people are doing things. But I just really want to thank you guys because we have to figure out a way to not only stay abreast with each other, but also try to save money in long term. And we're very close to Aseer's book coming out. And, all of these small goals, I always tell Aseer, I said, it's funny, your living mother, who is in New York, has over $1.5 million, but won't give us a penny because I ain't going to let them know in it. This is what black folk do, and this is what we do intrinsically. The Willie Lynch syndrome is so ingrained in our parents' parents that when we do have an opportunity to look out for each other economically, sometimes to teach a lesson, we'll go, you know what, I ain't going to give it to him. Let him work for it hard. So all this hard work, we're going to get there slowly but surely together. And it'll be great to see the lunchboxes with characters in our images and just with just art in our images and a graphic novel that's done really, really well. Please put that child in the tub. Put him in the tub. Give me 2 minutes. All right, so let me go. Well, have a good night, everybody. Give thanks, and I got to go take care of this one. Peace.
Yeah, that's how it basically works. You know, it all does what it is. But I think what it is, as an outsider looking in with the black woman thing, is that, you know, black women take a lot of shit very personal. You know what I'm saying? And that's because of how they've been, you know, preyed upon or whatever in this country. But one thing I don't think they've realized is that the same way that you was raped, black woman, the black man was raped too. The same way that you was traumatized in your mind and all that other shit, the black man was, that shit happened to him too. The same way that you got objectified by your body and what it is you had and things like that, the black man is going through the same thing. The thing is, everybody want to act like their level of suffering is more attributed to everybody else. So because a lot of black women have bought into this backbone of the family shit, then that gives them the right to what? Right? If all of these black women are single, yet still the black woman is the foundation of the family herself, and let's say just by herself, the way that it's marketed. I'm not talking about what is, I'm talking about how people market this shit. If that's the case, then we have to admit then that these single black women are the ones that's raising these gay babies. Because if the dad ain't there, then you can't say that it's for the lack of his influence that what. And then by the same token, when it comes to men, it's almost the same shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've met more men who have been ostracized based upon the fact that they want their children to be conscious. They want their children not to be involved in certain things like that. And that's when it dawned on me what the father actually provides to the family too. And that is the part of you that says that you don't have to compromise, son or daughter, to do and be what you want to be. You don't have to conform and do X amount of things or whatever just because other people say you're supposed to do that. Now, this is not to say that black women teach their children how to conform. However, those of us who, again, read the Willie Lynch shit knows that if the mother could choose to have her son be out there and live longer, more so than actually get out there and actually have to bust niggas and potentially be killed behind some shit, she'll say, well, do what you need to do to live longer. And if that means that you got to step and fetch it or whatever, you got to do that for a time until. And this is what brought about the baby boomer generation. Okay? The entire baby boomer generation was bred upon it, which was why they were the first generation to decide that they were going to, that was the first divorce-saved generation. That was the generation that said that we're not going to do it how our family did it before. I don't give a damn or whatever. If this is not working for me, then I got to do me. And that aspect of it, coupled with the white woman now breaking away from the chains of, let's say, being a second-class citizen to being a second-class first citizen, she then tacked on behind the civil rights movement, and again, these black women follow behind that. So nowadays, now here we are in 2011, allegedly, and then I'm watching an interview with Wanda Sykes, and this bitch is talking about, well, I'm a black entertainer. I'm supposed to be with a white woman. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is the level of the game, to the point where Angela Davis, okay, I don't say all black women turn their children into homosexuals, but I do see a preponderance of homosexuality coming coming from little boys who are growing up in it. And as a little boy who grew up in a house full of all women, there are things that women do with little boys that they don't realize can have an effect to make them question their sexuality and certain shit. Okay? It's real. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Like, if that's the case, then where all of these homosexual black kids coming from? And what happened in terms of the explosion of this homosexuality shit in our community within the past, let's say, 10 years? What happened? What set this off? I remember when Set It Off came out, and that was the first time that I realized, oh, shit, Queen Latifah's a dyke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do the knowledge to it up until that point that I saw her in that context in the movie. You understand? So I'm equating all of it to say that this is coming from somewhere, and the disconnect that black men and black women are having is manifesting in the idea that the species mind pattern wants to extinct aspects of itself. That's kind of what homosexuality kind of leads to. According to the Journal of American Medical Association, back in the journal from 1914, the original journals as they published them, they equated it as a disorder, homosexuality, as a disorder that was a form of voyeuristic, intimate, how do they refer? Voyeuristic, intimate narcissism. Okay? I mean, what about the Princess Boy? You know what I'm saying? Where'd that come from? And who was it? That wasn't a white woman. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a white woman doing that. Also, I think another branch of the homosexuality thing, why it's so important in this society, because it's another way of keeping secrets with people. You know, going back to the Freemason thing. This is another way for them to be able to maintain a certain degree of loyalty and consistency. Because, see, the Masonic gate thing is not gay to them. It's more like a Roman gate thing. So it's more like I'm just doing this as a means to secure the secret. And it's not to say that niggas are doing this in every large country. No, I'm thinking that a lot of this is going down in the upward mobile stuff. The niggas are actually making bread, the boule section of these people and whatever, as well as like low vibrational esotericists who feel that they can achieve some type of magical dominance over somebody by traveling through what they call the tunnel of Typhon, which is another name for the anus. No, I didn't say that. See? You now listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the relationship between a mother and son can produce homosexuality. I'm saying that if that's the case, if the single woman is raising this baby by herself, and she, for whatever reason, does not place certain emphasis or really doesn't understand certain aspects of the boy, just because you have a son does not mean that you know what it's like to be a little boy. Just because I have a daughter, that doesn't mean that I know what it's like to feel and be like a little girl. There are differences for a reason, because the principle of gender is, see, to call somebody homophobic, see, this is what I mean about using these Western terms and shit. The word homophobic, when you look at the psychiatric clinical definition of that, means that a homophobe is somebody who fears that they themselves are homosexual. It is not someone who does not like homosexual. That's something different. So to call somebody homophobic is almost like a double entendre, because in that you're saying that because I may not want my son to be homosexual, then for some reason I hate homos. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is homosexuality being used as a military application to effeminize men, to keep them from rising up against a fictitious system that has marginalized them into a state of perpetual apathy. That's what I'm talking about. That's my problem with homosexuality. Not if you want to have sex and get done in the butt by whoever, that's your right. But don't try to make my son, because he does not, or I do not want him to experience something along that line, try to make it seem like something's wrong with me. And that's my problem with the shit. They're using it as a military application, and they're using words like homophobic because that's a buzzword for people. So because people don't really read clinical definitions, they basically use this shit and now realize that what you're really saying is that I don't like gays because I feel that I'm gay on the low. And that's not true. You understand? But this is also the aspect of multiculturalism. You can't really say anything that you don't like about somebody else's culture because then you're culture bashing. Or you don't really like, you're not in support of what somebody wants to do with their life. It has nothing to do with it. But nobody applies that same rationale to us. And why is that? Niggas is talking about, they was gay. And show me a relief on a wall anywhere in Kemet that had two men having sex with each other. The same way, show me a glyph in Kemet or Samaria or Eritrea, or Etruskia or Carthage or Lydia or Mycene or the ancient Tawankan culture here in America. Show me something in a glyph or a relief or a stone wall or a temple that you have people of the same sex having sex with each other. Of course you're going to hear that now. Of course we can't think outside of the parameters of to say that there was a world where that didn't happen. There was a time that happened. And there was two nations in the world that did that and practiced that. Those two nations were Sodom and Gomorrah. And you know what happened to them. So again, I have I don't have a beef with anybody in that sense. Whatever anybody wants to do is on them. Just don't bring that shit to me, and because I may not want to participate in that, try to construe it like that somehow I'm hating somebody or hating on somebody for what they're doing. That is a cop-out. That's a trap. That is how white folk think. If you're not down with me, then we not down. Then you're not down with nobody. No, that's not the case. I just don't want my son. I want my son to be a man. You understand? I don't want my son to have to deal with certain aspects. But in that, I don't want to also hate him or hate anybody that does that. And I don't. I just know what's going on. And again, whenever the species mind pattern gets to a point where it feels that it is not evolving, then it will do things to show that it is on the verge of extincting itself. And there is no clinical way that a man and a woman can have a baby unless you involve the devil. Through in vitro fertilization, through surrogatism, through moonchildism, through test tube baby, it got to be some alternate way, which to me is a total disrespect to the black woman. Because what they're doing, without her realizing it, is they're trying to cut you out. They're trying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am not, quote-unquote, gay bashing or anything. I'm talking about this as a military application being used to extinct and effeminize young men and masculinize young women, so that way the principle of gender is askew in our community, and then we do not have an adequate means of protection against the interlopers who are trying to infuse us and try to make us think that that is a natural state for us to be in. And nobody can tell me no different, man. The kid ain't got nothing to do with her. I got gay uncles, gay aunts, all of that. I got a gay uncle named Aunt Takara, and we call him Aunt Takara, okay? And he's been dying of AIDS for about 25 years now. You understand what I'm saying? And he's the only person in my life that I know with it. Okay? So, again, I'm talking about the proper usage in words, like, and how that they use it and how they flip it on us and then try to get us to almost co-sign shit without realizing that's what we're doing. When you as a woman, when a woman says, oh, I don't need a man to do nothing, that's a damn lie. You needed your father to get you here. Just like a man saying, I don't need no bitch to do nothing for me. That's a damn lie. You needed your mother to get here. Ain't nobody so starving on this planet that you ain't got to eat, sleep, drink. You know what I'm saying? That means you're human. You don't know what these people that they're making now, these LGBT, clone, transgender, you don't know what they're doing to you. You know how many psychological evaluations you got to go through to go from being one sex to the next? You don't know what type of enzymes and what type of secretions and chromosomes that they're putting inside of the test tube that they impregnate you with because you want to have a baby with this woman, but you don't want to actually lay down with a man to get it. Same thing with the men. You don't know what they're doing to that embryo or what they're putting in that embryo when you decide to go through that procedure. You don't know. You got to take for granted, and this is what I mean about people subliminally worshiping the white man and taking what he say as law and as he's real. You don't know that. This nigga told you that he was giving black men syphilis through the Tuskegee experiment. But he ain't never tell you the Tuskegee experiment stopped, did he? No, he didn't. It's still going on. And this is the problem. We be caught up in shit that has nothing to do with us. Like I said, there's no evidence of this intended like that, man. And if there is now, you best believe some white anthropologist cracker then pulled this out of his ass and then probably sent it to the Gamay, which is where they send which is a museum in France, that they send all the original artifacts of black people throughout the world that they have found, and they send them there to create white renderings of them to then put back in different museums throughout the world. All museums under the world are under the jurisdiction of the Smithsonian, man, for a reason. Because they want to give you a perpetually skewed version of your history and make you think that just because you see niggas doing that today, that's what niggas was doing back in the day. No, that was evidence that society was on its way out. And that is not me basically making this up or trying to, come down on a group of people or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. Homosexual people, gay people know who's fighting for gay rights and all that shit back in the days when they created AIDS to try to kill us, kill the gays, kill everybody else. When the last time you seen anybody in the gay community rising up and picketing with you and marching with you against police brutality? When the last time you ever seen that? When the last time you seen any other nationality doing that in mass with you out there? You haven't, because a lot of us ain't even doing that shit. And this is what I mean. Multiculturalism was the death of independent black thought, original people thought. Because now, if I make any comment that sounds not in line with giving everybody props behind some shit, then somehow or another I'm hating on them. And this is what I mean about the perpetual idea of being put in a position to constantly have to explain and express how you feel, and all of that is coming from Western society. That shit is not how we get down, man. We have the right to think what we want to think. We have the right to say what we want to say. So what? Nobody else can say nigga but us. What you care? What they care for? They been saying nigga their whole life. Now we done took it, flipped it, found out the real meaning of it. We using it. We getting farther with it. We making money off it. Now niggas want to stop saying nigga. Or now it's a problem with it. But when was it a problem with it? When you was whipping niggas allegedly. When was it a problem with it? When these crackers be killing? They just killed a black man the other day, calling him nigga, hate crime. When the last time you heard of a black man, of a white person or whatever being convicted of a hate crime? Never. 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 They stay railroading black men and black boys and black girls in the legal system. Yet it's still niggas are still becoming COs, niggas still becoming cops. It is evidence that the species mind pattern is weeding out the sheep from the goat. we are at a critical juncture in our evolution, social evolution, and spiritual ascension. So it seems that the closer we get to that, the more we need to not identify with who we really are as original people. And I think that that's bullshit. And just because I'm speaking passionately about something that I know to be truthful to me does not mean that I am then taking it personally and then trying to force this opinion on anybody else. People are free to have sex and believe with whatever the hell they want to believe. In the end, they're going to see. Because no man can serve two masters. Okay? When I was watching some shit with some comedian, and she happened to be gay. She was hilarious. But there was a section of it where she was talking about how gay women, they always want to be mad naturey, or these gay white women, they always want to be mad naturey and go out and eat nuts and get married and bare feet and all that other shit. That white woman said, no, I'm a Jew first. She said, before I'm gay, I'm a Jew. And as a Jew, I want a hotel room. I don't want to be in the woods. I want to have a door. I want to be able to close the door on people. Said, no, I'm a Jew. So if she could be a Jew first and gay second, why is it such a problem? Why is it so ill now when you see these brothers or these sisters get gay? Why is it that they got to now be marching with the rainbow flag and all that other shit? They don't be at no police brutality rallies. They don't be at that shit. But again, what's worse, us pointing it out or the people who actually participate in how they doing that? Because, again, man, it's a lot of it too be peer pressure, a lot of that too be clubbing, a lot of it be fear. Some people become police because they scared. And they figure, well, I'll be down with it, and this way they won't prey on me, which is a lie or whatever. People will tell themselves anything not to do something. You know what I'm saying? But it takes a certain somebody to be able to have an opinion, stand by it, and show and prove it, regardless of who or what. What happened to those of us that could be able to do that? The reason why we don't have no leaders no more is because all our leaders was killed off. But now the point has become aware of all leaders. We all potentially are everybody that's been murked up until now. We know just as much about Malcolm X and all that shit and everything else than anybody else. So now that we have all the knowledge to do shit, we have none of the drive. And again, multiculturalism is one of the culprits because that came out of integrationism. And all integration did was cut you and make you further away from your birthright and now have to share it with even more people that had nothing to do with it, who now come over here and shit on you. They come over here, these immigrants come over here and they'll work for nothing. And because we as black people feel like, well, we did everything to build the country, we shouldn't have to do all of that. And we're right, but we're not necessarily correct. So this is why other people feel they could just come here and shit on us and do anything else. But that's also part of the G. Part of the G is when you come over here as an immigrant, you got to use the black people as the power base to raise your people up. Don't believe me? Look at the Arabs. I remember growing up in the hood, President Street, Franklin Avenue, Crown Heights, Flatbush. I remember when the Arabs used to have pictures of themselves in the bodegas holding AK-47s and shit in Yemen or in Saudi Arabia, wherever else they was at. I grew up looking at people like that, wearing the whole thing and all of that, right? But these are the same people selling us what? Pork rinds, selling us all of the garbage shit that we could get, cheese doodles, Cocoa Puffs, all types of shit, right? They make money off of that. They send money back home. They get a bigger Benz, get whatever. Same thing with the nail salons. At one time, only the sisters was doing that. They cut you out of that. They cut you out of that, sister. Right? Now you got to go to a Korean lady to do that. Same thing with the weave. When you want to get your weave, who you got to go to? You got to go to the Indian woman. When you want your food coming home from school, who you got to go to? You got to go to the Chinese food. You got to go to the Chinese man. You want to go to the bank. Who you got to go to? You got to go to the Jew. See what I'm saying? You want to get a permit to do something. You got to go to who? The white man. You want to be able to set up a block party, blah, blah, blah. Who you got to go to? The police. So everywhere you turn, black man, black woman, somebody else is telling you what to do. But then when we are saying what we can do to get out of a situation, niggas want to take what we saying personal. But you ain't taking what the pig's saying to you personal. You ain't taking what them Korean ladies are saying to you when they doing your nails, talking about you, laughing at you in your face, covering their mouth so that way they don't get the inflamed lungs and the bleeding intestine from inhaling all the damn fumes. They sitting there laughing at you, taking your money, dissing your feet, dissing how much coins or whatever else they shitting on you in their language though, and you don't know, and you still think what? You somehow got a handle on it? No, you leaving the nail salon to get on the train. These niggas is jumping in the Benz from the nail salon, going back to the suburbs where they from. Tell me I'm lying. This is how America works, man. This is how America works. Therefore, don't hate the player, hate the game, man. I'm just giving you the play-by-play and talking about it the way it is as opposed to how we want it to be. Even the Native Americans is shitting on you. Even the Native Americans are saying any dark-skinned people in our Cherokee Nation or anything else, y'all got to get up out of here. We're not recognizing y'all as natives no more. Why? Because the white man just put up another $100 million subsidy for any Indians that want to receive a casino so long as they do it through the BIA. And to do it through the BIA, which is the Bureau of Indian Affairs, you have to be designated as an Indian, but you have to have it through what they call the Dawes Roll or the Indian Roll, which came at a time in which they was killing all of the original 5 civilized tribe people and letting white people like Will Rogers and Buddy Hackett and the rest of these niggas be recognized as Cherokees. Again, always putting somebody in your seat, Esau. This is the perpetual story of Yaqub and Esau. This is us. We are Esau. Esau means to see or to have seen. So again, man, I'm just saying, we are both equally as screwed up, black woman, black man. So let's stop getting on the pity potty and acting like just because, you received one more lash than I did, that somehow your pain is a little bit more than mine. It's not like that, man. They don't give a damn. But they will use you, black woman, as a means to make you upset at us. So you will get the job to do whatever. I can get the job too, but for me to do it, I got to get the white woman, or I got to do something to show that I am willing to submit. So I'm cutting my hair, I'm taking the bass out of my voice, I'm doing something to let you know that I'm non-threatening. I'm wearing the nerd glasses that you see Lil Wayne and Chris Brown and these niggas will wear every once in a while when they want to appear non-threatening. Like, this is what they do. You see? But see, when black women get jobs, and again, I'm talking about straight up money, this is how the white man look at it, he'd rather give her the job because she occupies 2 positions of which he has to, quota-wise, he has to fulfill. You're a minority and you're a woman. You see what I'm saying? So that's a trifecta for them. That's why whatever society or whatever corporation these niggas got, they got a black woman that's at the head or that's right there running it for them because that's part of the ritual, Condoleezza Rice. They even got Condoleezza Rice's cousin up in there now, up under this dude. Deborah Lee, Oprah. The list goes on and on, man. Shit is real, man. But when we really, again, do the knowledge to it and take it all the way back, because I don't know what it's like to be a little girl growing up. I know what it's like to be a father of a little girl. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain overlap. So so gender comes in to make us more appreciative of who and what we came in as. So this is why when little boys are born, they look like their mother until puberty, and then they start to look like their father. When little girls are born, they tend to look like the father until puberty, and then they start to look like the mother or whatever after puberty. Just like in the brain, the right side of the hemisphere runs the left side, just like the left side runs the right side, because in the brain it's all crossed over. But it still functions on the principle of gender, which is there for a reason. Gender, masculine, feminine, is deeper than just a physical representation based on sex. That's the other thing, man. Sex is not the end-all to be-all to creation. Sex creates, period. It'll create love, it'll create lust, it'll create desire, it'll create a baby, it'll create an intent, it'll create a moonchild, it'll create whatever you want. That's the beauty of it. But the words sex and six are the same. Sex, and sex are the same. The whole story of Aseer, Set, and Heru is a story of sexual creation, of creation through sex. So again, we have these principles set up for a reason. And there's nothing wrong with you, a woman, wanting to be with a man. There's nothing wrong with you, a man, wanting to be with a woman. There's nothing wrong with that. As much as you hear these women talk about this, how we need to do this and this, a lot of women have never even looked at their own vaginas. They own. They don't even know what their own thing feel like. A lot of women don't even know the potential of what they can do, just like men. There are some of us that are just willfully ignorant, that when we see somebody that is kicking some shit or whatever that may be true, we will still hate on it just because we may not like that person. I'm not that fixed. There's plenty of times I've been around people and talked to people that I do not like, but they have said some shit that's been real enough for me to walk with and say, okay, well, this must be the reason why I know this person, because I learned this and that. But I don't look to create anything that's not there. Therefore, it's not so much important as to who's giving the information as to what the information is. Like we was watching this thing last night on the Kings of Leon, and the Kings of Leon mom said something that was real profound. The only thing I remember really about the whole damn show. And she said that the thing about the devil is that the devil is the king of the air. And as he is the king, and as he's the king of the air, he must travel. God don't have to travel.
And because he has to travel, he cannot read your mind.
That's right. The devil cannot read your mind. And when I say the devil, I mean anybody that's occupying that physical position in your life. A devil can never read your mind. He can only base what he want to do based on what you say out of your mouth.
So, which is why when you're giving glory to God, be so clear, because that is when the devil knows you are not celebrating him.
Exactly.
If she can't read your mind, this is why every time I think about God, I think about something, all of this, I say it out loud because I want the devil to hear me celebrate my love for the Most High.
That's right. And because it's an air spirit, again, when we talk about Luciferianism now, we're talking about the principle of air, because Lucifer is another way of saying loose fire. A loose fire is like a wildfire, a firestorm, or something that has a lot of air, oxygen in it that's making it burn faster. But again, as an angel of the air, or as the light bearer of the air, or the morning star, it has to travel from place to place. This is why when people say, well, which way does the wind blow? The wind blows everywhere at once, because it's actually not a bunch of different winds. It's one big gust of wind that blows throughout the entire world and gets into every nook and cranny as it's dispensating through physical matter. Therefore, wind has to travel, just like light has to travel. Darkness does not travel. Darkness is consistent within itself. It don't got to travel nowhere. That's how fast it is. Yeah, air, not necessarily. Air signs when I'm talking about air signs in this way now, I'm talking about the Luciferian spirit, or the entity that our enemy is in concert with. It is a traveler. That's why Masons, one of the opening degrees, they ask if you're a traveling man. Remember? And what do you say? No, I'm a man traveling from the west to the east in search of light and that which was lost. That's a whole allegory code. That has a lot of different meanings depending upon your degree at the time in which you are answering back the person who answered you the question. But the real question is, who is the God of the Masonic Lodge? You know who the God of the mosque is. You know who the God of the temple is. You know who the God of the God of the church is. Why is it when we get into that, none of these things can be spoken? Because we're dealing with different principles, man. Like this whole thing with Amy Winehouse being killed and all of that with the 27 Club shit. The whole number 27 thing came out of what they refer to as the Pythagorean theorem, because Pythagoras basically put it down that 27 is a special number due to the fact that it exists between 26 and 28, meaning that it is an odd number between two perpetually, let's say, even numbers. You know what I mean? 2 and 6, 2 and 8. Whereas 2 and 7 is odd, and it's in between these two, so you have, let's say, two evens and then the odd in the middle. That's what makes 27 such a binding influence, which is also bust down to 9, which is born. So anybody born within that sphere of influence, right, when you get down with the whole, Luciferian thing or whatever, 27 is a crucial year for you, especially if you're in the music business. So really, this whole thing goes all the way back to Pythagoras and the Pythagorean theorem. You don't believe me? Look up the Pythagorean theorem or Pythagoras notes on the number 27, what he said about it. But again, who is Pythagoras? See? Pythagoras actually is not a physical person like you think it is. The Pythagorean theorem, or what they refer to as the Pythagorean theorem, is really a combination, because Pythagoras is really Ptah. You understand? And Ptah is the god of art and creation. He is the god that they use to symbolize the Oscar, who is holding the Tajet pillar, the spine, which is the Kundalini Shakti, at the base in his solar plexus, around the heart chakra. So again, the Pythagorean theorem or whatever is the basis of the 27 Club, and the 27 number is a number that they use specifically in certain rituals when they're trying to deal with people within that realm of influence, because again of the sonic and the application, and also the Luciferian connection to the music industry. So, is there anything else before we get to the calls? Like, you have scientists that are still out here telling people that the Earth, when they refer to the Earth, they refer to Earth as a globe. The Earth is not a globe. A globe is perfectly round. The Earth is not perfectly round. It's a sphere. A globe is something, like I said, that is circular, that is perfectly round. The Earth is circular, but not round. Therefore, it's a sphere. You understand? Yet still, they be selling globes 10 a week. You know what I'm saying? So based on this, like I said, they may be going through that regime change where they get rid of Gaddafi. That's really going to be a bad move for them. But, you can't tell the devil nothing, so we see what happens. But mark my words, that shit is going to be a problem. They made reference to the fact they was going to go into Libya in the movie Limitless. After he took the pineal gland, he was in a meeting with Robert De Niro, and they were going over their plan for world domination. And after he took the pineal gland, he realized, he said, well, in order to make this all work, you got to get rid of Libya. So that was the case right there. You know what I'm saying? So the Libya thing is just an allegorical conquest against the old Moorish Empire, because remember, the United States of Barbary were Old Morocco, which is Al Maghribia, right? Tunis, Tripoli, which is Libya, and Punt. Okay? So this basically just means that this is another way for them to expand a fictitious jurisdiction to now move another pipeline going horizontally through Morocco, through Tunis, through Libya, through Egypt, and then eventually try to hook this up with what they're trying to do in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Run it through Afghanistan, and then basically have the pipes meet, and then move further down and link them pipes up with the one in Iraq, and then pretty soon you good. This was written out in explicit detail in the document they put out called the Northwoods Report, and another document they put out called A Plan for a New American Century. So, again, man, we're not here to offend anybody, and I don't want anybody to feel like we bashing anybody or whatever. I'm just keeping it real and saying that when you stand up and say what you don't like going on or how other people are treating your people as a black person, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a bunch of black people jumping down your throat talking about, oh, you can't be like that, all white people like this, all gay people like this, all this like that. And all that is evidence, one, of how compassionate we are as a people, which is why I don't take it personal. And two, how this multiculturalism shit has made us watchdogs for everybody else's culture but our own. So, we can get into some calls real quick. 10:30. Peace, 347. You want Super Heru Radio?
Hello?
Peace.
Hey, peace. What's going on? It's Heru Hayes. I didn't hear from you for a minute.
Hey, what's up, King?
What's going on? Peace to your family and
How
peace to the Heru family. All right, hanging in there, trying to get through this retrograde.
Word, me too, man.
Yeah, I got many questions, but I'm just going to ask about what happened up here in New York. Yesterday we had a storm. You know, it rained, and then after it rained, it got like orange outside. And I don't know how many, people didn't notice it, but it was like an orange glare outside. And then it was like, gray in the back. You know what's that about?
What area, like what, was it in the western sky, the eastern sky?
We was in, I don't know, the eastern sky. It was, matter of fact, it was like all over. Like you would come outside and you would just see orange.
Around what point in the day was it?
This is around like 7. Between 7 and 7:30. And we lived
around New York?
Yeah, and I'm Queens.
Well, they're not reporting a lot of this solar flare shit that's going on.
Oh.
That's coming down on this Elenin thing.
Uh-huh.
Because it's passing around, it's making a loop around the sun, and in the process of doing that, it's picking up. Like
right.
Some of the solar flares flicking off into the upper atmosphere from it shit. So, that could be it. Or orange light can also represent limited HAARP technology. A lot of people describe orange lights or rainbows.
Right.
Like rainbows don't seem like real rainbows. They almost look like clouds.
Right.
Almost like little spectrums in it. So it depends.
Because the Queen has a friend in Vermont, and Delaware, and she said she's seen the same thing too.
Oh, see? Yeah, so that might have been a solar flare.
Wow.
You say it's around 7?
Yeah, around 7. Yeah, 7:30.
Yeah, that would be the time to see it on some 7 sun Godspeed, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I would say it's that. I'll look into it too, though.
Oh, okay.
Make sure. But that's what I'm thinking.
All right. And another thing, if I'm making a request, is like on a Facebook page, if there's somehow every day you can just give like a word of a day that the Heru family can go by.
Okay.
You can think you start doing that.
A definition type. Okay,
yeah.
I'll definitely institute that. Thank you for that, bro. I'll do that.
All right. So thanks a lot, and I'm gonna get in touch with you soon.
Please do, man. Blessings to you and the Queen. Thank you guys for holding us down, man.
All right, peace.
Peace, King.
Oh. He said that was a solo player.
But did you?
Peace. 315 on Super Heru Radio. Peace. 315.
Peace.
Oh, hey, what's up, bro?
What's going on, man?
I'm good, King. How you doing?
Just real quick. I had kind of missed Friday's show a little bit, and my friend told me you were talking about that movie, The Help.
That we needed what?
The movie, The Help, that just came out.
Yes.
Can you reflect on that a little bit for people like me that wasn't there for that show or missed part of it?
Yeah. It's another example of what we were talking about earlier.
No more. Go back into your bed. Go into your bed and more.
Hold on a second. It's another example of what I was talking about in terms of how they want to always show the black woman being domesticated by the Caucasian woman. Or like they want to make it seem like the Caucasian woman is the basis of like femininity. So if you notice in the movie, they were treating the Help like crap, racist and all the stuff that white people do in those types of movies. But it wasn't until the young Caucasian chick would stink to the lady, and the lady kind of like put in a place a little bit without doing that she realized, oh, this is what's up. So then she decides to write an article by interviewing the so-called Help anonymously, because if she put their name in, the white folk will get at them. And then it becomes a big thing, and then allegedly things begin to change based upon this article. So what is this saying? This is saying that in order for things to be better for you, black woman, even though you're my maid or my slave, you need me to express what you, for whatever reason, can't express, so that way I can help you get what you need, so that way you can keep raising my baby. That's what they basically said to me, because nobody was listening to any of the black people until they did that. Unless this was in the civil rights era. Mm-hmm. And again, the same woman who played that role is the same black woman who played in the movie Doubt, in which she allowed her son to be, or she didn't want to deal with the fact that her son was being molested by this white priest. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because she was mad subservient. And it felt inferior to these people. So these are the only movies. So all of the movies that they make about us in this country happen between the time we were slaves and the civil rights era, and then every movie after that now is taking place from the crack era, right, to the hip hop era. So what about all the eras in between and before that? You can't see yourself in them eras, because in those eras, Caucasian people weren't the dominant. Mm-hmm. And they're still not, but they are in the mind of a lot of indigenous people throughout the planet. And so these movies help perpetuate the same thing. It's just like another Precious. Mm-hmm. And they're always directed to the woman. Something new. Remember? Monsters Ball. Remember? Boiler Room. Always the movies, even the new one, Colombiana. Yeah. Every white dude, you know what I mean? Like, she's killing all the white guys, and then she's having sex with the white guys, too. It's like, come on, man. Why is it that you can never just see a black man and a black woman as the love interest in something without it being some type of ghetto romance about them not being thugs and not having money? You know what I'm saying? But then every other day there's a new romance comedy or romance drama about some white people in the past, and they always seem to get it together, but with us it's never like that. What that does is it makes you want that. like soap operas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those things, they perpetuate a false reality that, unbeknownst to some people, they get caught up in and then want to actualize that aspect of what they're watching into their own lives. And that can never be, because you'll never be a Caucasian woman. You'll never be, you know what I mean, anybody but yourself.
Right.
So, that was kind of my take on it.
Okay. All right, bro. Thanks for clearing that up for me.
Thank you, bro.
All right. Peace.
Peace. Peace. You on Super Heru Radio? 347?
Hey, what's going on? Peace, brother.
Hey, what's up, King?
How you doing? Peace to you and your family and everybody on the phone and in the chat. Hey, I got a question. I've been feeling like a vibration around where my pocket, like if I got my pants on in my pocket area of my body, my pockets would be around.
On both sides?
Yes. Mostly on the right side, though.
It doesn't hurt, though.
Nah, it don't hurt. I keep thinking my cell phone is in my pocket, but it's on my hip, and then I look, and there's nothing there, and I just keep feeling this vibration, and, I'm wondering if somebody's trying to tune in with me,
Yeah, right. Well, do you have a diode for your cell phone?
No.
Okay. You should go online there's a site called Tools for Wellness. And, toolsforwellness.com, I think. And they have diodes for cell phones and computers and stuff. You should definitely get one and put it on. Get one and put it on your phone, because it'll shut down all of the radio waves that's coming out of the phone. Because what they do is, when you wear them on your hip and stuff like that, they can reverberate and they go into the bones. And sometimes the bones, the marrow, can have a negative reaction to it and try to force the vibration out, which then creates like a stagnation, or what can become a stagnation around the hip, to block the chi in that area between the upper pineal organ and the lobe. So definitely get that. It could also mean that you might be receiving some bread. So what you might want to do is get a nutmeg, like an actual nutmeg, the nut.
Yeah.
And wrap like a 5 or a 10 or a 20 or something around it, and keep it in your left pocket.
Okay.
See what happens.
All right, I'm going to try both of them.
Yeah, but
thanks a lot.
Without.
Okay.
Peace.
Thanks a lot. Peace.
Okay. 912, you on Super Heru Radio?
Peace, how you doing?
Peace, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Hey, brother, I wanted to know if you can afford to share some information with me. I made a decision a few months ago. I heard you earlier speaking on how, so many cultures are controlling our destination.
Yes, sir.
I made a jump out into the market, and out from the job market, and I want to know, could you afford to share some information on how to pretty much maintain some type of financial level outside the market, if you can afford to share that with me?
Indeed. Well, congratulations with, doing your thing, first of all. And what I found is that there's always something that each one of us has that we're born with that only we can do or produce. This doesn't mean people can't produce things that are similar to that, but when we do it, there's something about it that is responsive to people. So if you can figure out something that you have, whether it's a hobby or a talent or something that you can use as a means to use that to put yourself in a position, then you will definitely receive payment for that. You know? So that could be anything, you know. In terms of, you know, going and getting, let's say, something else, in terms of a job, if you do that, it should be something that affords you the time to put yourself in a position to become upwardly mobile to then do, maybe parlay that into something else. So, for instance, when I first started researching, you know, I got a job at the library. You know what I'm saying? And me just being able to just, you know, put books and be around books allowed me then to use my job as a means to, you know, start my real job. You know what I mean? Just like, so it's the same thing with anything else, you know, like those type of strategies to me work better than trying to maybe do something that somebody else is doing. You see what I'm saying? Because they may seem successful in it, that you may have the same thing because that may not happen. You know? So, you know, that's one way to do it. You know? And another way to do it is to provide whatever service that is not being provided in your community. So maybe there's a group of people in your building who have children who go to school in different places, and it's hard for them to pick them up. Maybe they could pay you money, being you live in the same building, to go pick them up because, you know, that's been your job. You know, and then you can then provide that service to whoever else. These are just examples, I'm saying, of things that are outside of the box that people sometimes don't realize you can do, and that people will actually pay for because it's actually helping. You know, there may be some people, you know, they have you know, nurses and stuff like that, but a lot of times a lot of black people can't afford that. So maybe they may be working or whatever, and they need somebody to go in and check on their moms every, you know, day or 2 days or some shit. You know, that's a service. So in that, you compensate it. And because you're not a negative or evil person, you don't have to worry about, oh, maybe I got to get a license or blah, blah, blah. No, this is you providing a service for your community and receiving compensation for it. And all of us could be doing this. And then what happens is the money that we get is funneled back between us. You see? It's like a susu, but more active in the sense that you don't have to wait for one person to get a payout. Everybody can be paying each other, and in the process, the money is still circulating, and they'll be moving up. You know?
Brother, thank you for your insight. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
No. All right. Thank you, brother. Peace.
Peace.
And there's more than one way to skin a cat. More than one way to catch a rat, you know? Peace. You want to Heru Radio? What's the area? 817? Peace. Peace. 919, you want to Heru Radio?
Yo.
Peace.
Hello?
Peace. Hey, brother.
Oh, peace, God.
I didn't actually have any question at this time. I'm sorry that I'm in the queue. I was just enjoying what you were giving.
Thank you, King, for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man.
In the house.
When I click on the house, it gives you the description of what's going on in there.
Peace. You want to Heru Radio? Anyone? 770. Peace. I can hear you.
Hello?
Peace. I can hear you. How you doing, Queen?
Oh, I didn't have any questions. I didn't even press 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. The thing was lit. See, retrograde.
Oh, okay. My bad.
It's all good. Thanks for tuning in, though.
Every week.
All right. That's what's up. Peace to you and your family, Queen. Yeah, man. You get someone else? I'll do that. Yeah, man. So that's pretty much how it's kind of rolling, you know. To sum everything up, it's coming down to a financial blitzkrieg of illiterately conscious bloodsuckers who are seeking to switch their base of operations to the Middle East, and in the process of that, leave this place as screwed up as possible. So in the interim of that, this is when communities and individual trust need to be created for people to be able to self-perpetuate their own communities. Yet, one of the things that we as a globally black community all share in common is that we are all being preyed upon by each other and everyone else. You know, there are instances in the Katrina incidents where white people, where quote-unquote Caucasian people were being put at the head of the helicopter releases and airing everybody out, where the black people had to go to the dome and basically sit there under armed guard and fall under rape. But a lot of the rapists they're finding now were actually rapist prisoners that were brought under guard to the dome and just let out with everybody else. Just like they have reports, it's a known fact now that you have the police and everybody who shot and killed all of these black people trying to get away. But there were white and black police that were doing that to black people. So we are not only preyed upon by everybody else, but we are also preyed upon by our own people. So when we say we now, we have to speak on an abstract level, but then on a more confined level, we have to deal with the material reality that we is becoming fewer and fewer people who are building on things such as this in a coherent way while not trying to or seeking to usurp other people's power for their own gain. So there's not that many of us that's on it like this. So those of us that are have to find ways to protect ourselves from those of us that aren't, as well as the greater multiculturalists that are seeking to suck out every last instance of culture, and those black people, quote-unquote black people, who are eager to just let them do it. You understand? Like, this thing is serious because the children are the ones that's being affected by that. It's not right to hate anyone. Therefore, in speaking about what's happening, we have to almost become passionate about the accuracy and truth in it, but yet emotionally aware enough to know that they have convoluted this agenda so much that everybody has turned upon themselves. And what hasn't happened is original people standing up and saying that enough is enough. But to do that, to implement that for real, we gotta weed through all of these pretenders and all of these other, entities or whatever that's doing that. They have known fact that they were shipping guns under what they call Operation, I forget, Operation something, where they were running guns to Mexico. The same during when they were showing the cartels shooting and killing everybody. The guns that the cartels was getting, they was getting for the United States government. However, the United States government is just a representation or a tentacle of a greater octopus that is slowly, spitting ink in the water to keep everybody blacked out of what's really going down. If that octopus is Cthulhu, Cthulhu is the god, the male octopus god that represents the 8 doors of creation and the 8 lords of creation that were put to sleep, of which we allegedly are in the dream that they're having as to what the world would be like to be physical. Therefore, Cthulhu then is the masculine version of Olokun, who is the deep, dark version of Yemaya, who is also the sky goddess Nu, because the sky and the water meet at the top with a wave crest. So as physical representation of these living, breathing facts and evidences of the glory of God, we are beset, just like the Pulp Fiction, on all sides by the wicked, who do not and have given up on the light and do not hear the song of creation, and therefore they cast wickedness on everything they do. And if you don't want to dance to their tune, then you're a problem. Well, instead of that obsolete, extreme argument, whenever you're dealing with an argument where it's just my way or the highway, that's a reptilian mind state. That's also the mind state of a child. To compromise the balance is, instead of dancing to the devil's tune, I'm going to create my own tune and dance to that. But just make sure that the inspiration I'm receiving it from is coming from a divine source. And the only way that can be is that I protect myself from infestation as well as negative amalgamation due to the fact that we are preyed upon in this society. And it's real. We the majority, we won, we the best, we all of that. But on the day-to-day, walking through this in our own individual lives, we are experiencing some synchronicities that are building and that other people in our lives that represent whatever they represent within our lives are becoming more aware of. Therefore, we are doing what we're supposed to do. So whatever happens, when the proverbial we gets together, the proverbial they begin to fall. So again, all we got to do is lay the proper foundation to set up what we need to set up for the legacy of the future. Because what they've given their children in their future and your children in their future, if you choose to still participate in their society the way they've been doing it for the past 230 years, 229 to 230 years, that means that you have saddled your children, your children's children, their children's children, their children's children, and their children's children to their debt. To this debt that we know now does not exist. So if you want to stay doing with that, then you just know that all roads lead to Rome, and in the end it goes down to the Pope. So whatever declaration and whatever is made, everything needs to be limited and focused in on what needs to be done to build everything, again, how it's supposed to be built. So with that, like we said, look out for them to talk about the solar flares. Look for them to talk about, Gaddafi getting out of here or being deposed within the next, let's say, 6 days. And that's really going to be the torpedo for them, because this goes back to, again, something historically dealing with us. Moors being broken down in terms of the United States of Barbary. There's a book called The Golden Trade of the Moors by Beauville. Another book you can get called Cavaliers and Yankees by Taylor, and another book you can get called Set the Record Straight. This is a book by Dr. York, actually, and it's pretty good. So with that, we say peace to everybody. Everybody interested in the classes, please holler at us at houseofl@hotmail.com, as well as our website, www.aseerthejuketeers.com, for a lot of the merchandise and products we have, educational products we have. And again, thank you for participating and in the dialogue and the discourse, and peace, and hopefully we didn't offend too many people. And if you start getting hate mail and shit, because you know communication is sensitive, but at the same token, I ain't lying. I know that. So with that, we say peace, everybody, and inshallah, please sign up. We have a couple months, some slots open for our class starting this Wednesday on establishing the self-executing family trust. So with that, just holler at us at houseofl@hotmail.com, and we'll get it right out to you. Yeah, but one thing is, you know what I'm saying? So with that, Selena, myself, Saga, also www.sagaside.com, no doubt. Check that out. And to all of our friends, all of the friends of the show, all the super Heruians throughout the world, peace. This is our time. We're going to get there. Team Cordoba, we're going to win. Peace.